Welcome to AFA Talks, the official podcast of Albanians for America, where we highlight Albanian-American leadership, engagement, and impact across the United States and the Balkans. I'm your host, Dr. Anici, and today's episode is a special one. This is our first ever in-person recorded podcast. We're excited to bring you closer to the voices shaping our communities right here in Texas. Today, we're joined by two outstanding Albanian-American leaders who are stepping forward to serve at the local level. First, Elda, a legal professional with experience in government, corporate, and regulatory work, and a dedicated leader in the city of Keller, Texas. She is running for City Council Place 4 with a focus on responsible growth, strong infrastructure, and protecting the character of her city. And joining us as well, Adrian Doko, an entrepreneur and community leader in Lewisville, Texas. He serves as chairman of the Innovation Subcommittee for Lewisville's 2035 Vision Plan and is running for City Council Place 3 with a vision focused on innovation, smart growth, and stronger communities. Elda, Adrian, welcome to AFA Talks.
Thank you for having us, Doc. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having us, Doc.
Well, let's start with the why, basically. Elda, if you can go first,
Sure.
Tell us why you decided to run for council in your town, Keller, Texas.
I get asked all the time, why am I running? And I have one simple question: to serve the community. I also get asked, why do I do this? Why am I running? And it's just that I was trained to be engaged, and I love to do what I'm doing, seeing the community together and the people of Keller. And I want to contribute from a completely different perspective to the community where I live in.
It's wonderful. What about you, Adrian? Why did you decide to run?
I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm running because I want to be a strong, independent voice for the people of Lewisville. I want to help create stronger neighborhoods, smarter infrastructure, responsible budgeting, and real opportunities for the next generation. As chairman of the Innovative Subcommittee for the Lewisville 2035 Vision Plan, I've worked on ideas to help prepare our city for the future through innovation, technology, and thoughtful growth. But now I want to turn ideas into action. Lewisville has given so much to my family, and I'm running to give back by helping build a city that works better for everyone.
You know, at Albanians for America, we always try to tie into our heritage with what we're doing with candidates and they're running for office. So, Elda, what do you think that your heritage of an Albanian background brings to this race or to your ability to run for this election?
I was raised by two hardworking parents. My father was a teacher, a biochemist. My mom was a nurse, and she would get calls at night and go help the women who were in need, as well as I would see my dad working as a beekeeper for a hobby, and those were all indications that you have to work hard in order to make a living. That's where I come from. That's the culture I was raised with, and that's what I bring. I brought the skills to this country, and I turned those with hard work into opportunity.
That's so funny. You mentioned beekeeping. My wife has this great story. Her aunt came and visited us. She's an elderly woman. She's not with us anymore, 90 years old, from the old country in Albania. And she was telling us the story about how she had the little match boxes where you can take the matches out and light the old type match boxes they used to have. And one of her evil neighbors showed up with one of those match boxes and took away the queen bee from their hive and put it in that little matchbox and stole their queen bee. So it's funny.
Yeah.
Over there, the honey and the beekeeping that goes on, it's a very popular deal. What about you, Adrian? What do you think about your background that, what Albania and your heritage has brought to this campaign for you?
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. I really believe I have an unfair advantage with my Albanian heritage. Being born here in the United States, I was brought up under the code of Besa, where we treat all of our guests with respect, and we make sure that they are heard and they are protected at all times. So I love the fact that our Albanian heritage has gotten us to develop community together. And through hard work and perseverance, we have excelled as citizens of the United States. So I really believe that has instilled a lot of my vision and thoughts on serving my city better.
It's great. And then Elda, you're some of the biggest challenges that your city is facing today. If you can talk about that and how you plan on trying to address some of those challenges.
Sure. Being a city council, it's a unique and it's a unique position and profession, I would say, because once you're there, you're gonna have to be dedicated and commit your time. Our city at the moment, like most of the cities, I would say, in that region, are looking for more support for public safety, better infrastructure, stronger economy. That's what I am going to focus on. Economic development is going to be my priority, stronger small businesses, and which will directly impact the local economy.
During the campaign, do you get a lot of voices in your community kind of giving you new ideas or suggestions or what they're looking for? And is that sparking some kind of maybe thought process on how you want to maybe when you do get elected, because you will, what you think you might do in for your city, when you get these ideas
Absolutely.
coming up?
Yes, and it's very helpful. And that usually happens during the process of door knocking. I'm sure Adrian will agree to it. It's so helpful when you meet the people, the community, and you ask them about the concerns and the questions they have. That's what sparkles and triggers you working and having to do the research and coming up with new ideas. But you'll hear all sorts of comments, such as that traffic light needs to move, that stop sign may not need to be there. And you do your homework, you consult with other people, leaders in the community, and you find the best way and approach to handle it.
What about you, Adrian? What about Louisville, the city that you're running in? Is there some issues there that you want to try to tackle when you get elected and become councilman?
Yeah, so I was fortunate as a restaurateur for over 25 years to serve over hundreds of thousands of residents there. And serving that many people for that many years, obviously you hear a lot of their concerns. And one of the major concerns is our aging infrastructure. As an advocate for integrating next level or emerging technologies such as 6G connectivity, automated system, and then artificial intelligence, we are entering the third industrial revolution. We need to integrate these systems into our aging infrastructure. And by incorporating these systems, we can create a more efficient Louisville and really leave the next generation with all the tools that they need in the toolbox to grow their careers, and then also to entice major corporations. Louisville is 95% built out, so we have to be more responsible on who we're engaging and who is going to be part of our growth moving forward.
That's so interesting that how you bring up AI and local city government. It's so AI is everything right now. Economics, education, big government, war, but local city government and how that can, really make a difference in the future of a city. I don't know if many people have thought too much about that or try to implement that as much in government or not.
Well, that's the biggest problem. We have to do a better job of educating our leaders. It's tough for them to wrap their head around this technology, but I've been working in this field in the nonprofit sector for well over a decade. And I believe that if we begin integrating and creating a smart city in the region, that the surrounding cities will follow very close by, because again, the efficiencies involved, the less burdens on the taxpayer, and it's just a win-win for the entire region.
When I asked Elda about during her campaign and her election, getting a lot of new ideas and thoughts from the electorate. Also, when you go and meet with the city employees and the structure of the city, I think get a lot of feedback as well. Have you had an opportunity to sit and talk with some departments in the city as well, or?
Absolutely. So I'll start by being a huge proponent of drones as a first responder, as a drone operator certificated by the FAA. I was glad to support our public safety. Essentially, the drone will be on scene assessing the situation as soon as you call 911. So absolutely integrating these technologies and working with the city manager, working with the planning and zoning,
Yep.
and finding a strategy to integrate those emerging technologies will be extremely beneficial.
Have you had any back and
Absolutely.
forth?
Yep. Planning and zoning is a department that's very important, especially because there is a demand or interest to keep the density low. Um, there are certain groups who are interested in keeping it low density, but then there are so many constraints, and because of Keller being geographically positioned maybe differently from Louisville, there isn't much that you can do. So planning and growing intentionally and responsibly is very important, because in Keller we also have maybe around 10% left land that's not used. And we are being very careful and intentional about how do we want to approach this, who do we want to give it to, and if it doesn't give more than it takes, my position is a big no. So we'll keep it for ourselves.
That's
As is.
interesting. Bella and I, my wife, we drove out to an event you had there a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, "This place is beautiful," and
Mhm.
it is beautiful, Keller.
Yeah.
And you guys,
Big lots, big backyards.
She
It's
loves that
beautiful.
because we're not used to that where we live. We love McKinney, but it's the lots are, I guess they say, call it
Mhm.
zero lots, or
Mhm.
and they're right up butted up against each other. But when you see a city where you have all this land and ability for kids to run around and have a great time, it's just you guys
It's
live in a wonderful
beautiful.
place.
Yes.
So you got to protect that.
Yes, absolutely. We're blessed to be there. People are so nice. The city is beautiful.
So North Texas is growing rapidly. How do you balance that growth while protecting the character or quality of life? We touched on it a bit.
Yeah.
But what do you think, Adrian, on this rapid growth that we're having here in North Texas and still being able to keep that, I don't know, people want to have that small town Texas feel still everywhere they live.
That's a great point you bring up. Growth is exponential here in the North Texas region. And, we have to be more practical instead of theoretical when we're looking at growth. As Elda mentioned, is the juice worth the squeeze if we're building these capital projects or asking the taxpayers to front the bill with these bond initiatives? So we have to ensure transparency at the city level by, engaging communities. And that's what I'm doing through the Louisville 2035. I directly engage the residents, get their feedback and input, and bring that to our city managers, to our planning and zoning committees, so their voices are heard.
Tell us more about this Louisville 2035. It's because a lot of cities don't look that far into the future and try to plan ahead as in that distance of time frame. But it's nice, interesting sounding program you guys have.
Yeah, based on the success for our 2025 vision plan, we've learned that the best way to engage the public is by simply asking and listening. So, because we're uniquely positioned to a lot of these tech hubs, aviation hubs, we're very close to DFW Airport. We want to understand what the residents' pressure points are and what ideas they can. I mean, we have folks that work for Raytheon. We have all different types of folks that are part of these committees that are giving phenomenal ideas on what our city should look like in the next 10 years.
It's excellent. So, what does effective leadership look like at the local level, and how will you ensure transparency and accountability if you were to be elected?
The city is doing a great job, by the way. Transparency has to be there. The meetings are recorded. Everything is public. The public can be engaged. Um, uh, Listening is what I would say is the core of leadership. That's what leaders should provide at all times. And open doors communication and transparency during these meetings that we hold every 2 weeks.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
If listening is such a key aspect,
Yeah.
whether it's a small board or community center or a large city council, if you're able to listen not just to the constituents, but to the people that are working in the city and learn, and then speak up about what you think, which road you should go down, or how you should tackle or handle a problem. But listening is really, really a key.
It is.
And Adrian, you got your focus is innovation a lot and smart city planning. You want to expand a little bit? You already talked a lot about that. What else do you want to tell us about, the innovation aspect of what you're looking at there in Louisville?
Well, the reason I'm mainly focusing on, I'm trying to figure out the resources that Louisville currently offers, and people would be amazed to learn that Ericsson has the only smart city factory in the United States in Louisville, Texas. So when I talk about intelligent infrastructure, what I mean in layman's term is how can our traffic signals be smarter? How can our roads be more efficient? And by integrating these IoT sensors in our traffic signals, in our lighting, in our streets and highways, basically you'll have an entire ecosystem that is communicating and being proactive with preventative maintenance, keeping our roads safe, also giving us a holistic view on how our city is operating and taking those data sets and creating a more efficient city structure.
Processes.
It's they have these we had a law here in McKinney where they passed the cameras in the intersections and that sort. But even when you try to innovate or come up with great ideas, a lot of times you have to kind of balance things out a bit because there's also privacy concerns, And then eventually they got rid of a lot of these cameras, because people would be getting tickets or whatnot. But now, from what I understand, they're also bringing back cameras, not just to ticket people, but for crime prevention. So if anybody commits a crime, they're able to track, But there's this back and forth, privacy concerns, and if you pass something as a council person, you got so many things you have to try to think
have
about.
to absolutely consider the legislation in first.
Yeah, it's a balance. Privacy is a big issue
Yeah.
for me as well. I testified at the city council for better transparency with our law enforcement officers. Who is utilizing this data? How is this data being shared? So privacy is a big issue. However, there's a smarter way to do that without invasion of privacy.
Speaking about police and fire, Elda, I mean, that's such an important function of city council, I think, and I think it's your top priority, if not anything else. Is that part been a learning curve? Everybody has to understand, because you don't just automatically understand how those things work as a normal civilian, and then you run for city council. You have to educate yourself on all that. What is your thoughts on fire and police and safety and concerns for the citizens?
So public safety is very important and needs to be supported. I think that they're in the midst of the upper average of the base, They have my back. I'm going to support them. It's a friendly city. The crime prevention is there, but the crimes are low, which is another fortunate fact that we consider when we did in the past when we decided to move. But now that we're there, we want to contribute and keep the city as is, safe and family friendly, with the help of the public safety, of course.
Elda, tell us again now, you're from Albania, you came to Keller, you got this cool accent. Tell us about your background. I think the audience would be very interested in that.
Sure. I came to United States in 2013 as a lawyer, and I went back to law school here in US. I've been working in corporate law since 2015, and I have helped businesses across United States stay in compliance and establish businesses. Eventually, this gave me a different perspective where I created my own business and I started to live that every day with my husband. We opened these two businesses, we created jobs, and we contributed to the local economy.
It's wonderful. And I'll tell you what, your food is excellent at the restaurants.
You were there,
Love
yeah.
it. Love your food over there. It's very, very
Where
good.
have you been? Because we opened
You
a
got two.
while back.
We
You
went.
finally visited
Yeah,
us.
I know. We should have came earlier, the wife and I, and we'll be there again. Trust me.
Yes,
Try to get
please.
rid of us from now on because it will be showing up all the time. What about you, Adrian? Tell us about your background a little bit.
Well, that's a fascinating story. You know, my dad came to this country back in the 60s and, you know, worked hard, 3 jobs. Your typical Albanian immigrant story. You know, growing up in New Jersey, it was a really tough neighborhood, and my dad had the foresight to try to find better opportunities for his family. And that's when we moved to Texas about 30 years ago. My background as a student of architecture, I have a great grasp on planning and development. And recently, I've been really involved in the technology space, specifically in automated technologies, as the president of the Association for Uncrewed Vehicle Systems International here in Texas, as well as many other initiatives. I'm sure you're aware. I try to plug in as many places to contribute, because we came from, you know, we came from nothing to this country, and through perseverance and hard work, we were able to accomplish. So now we feel that it's our turn to give back to the communities, you know, especially the American Albanian community, who's been so supportive of our campaigns, and we just want to give back at any capacity.
You know,
Absolutely.
you got a lot of Albanians that immigrated to the United States, like yourself, and then you have ones that were first generation born here. And you know, we have an elected official in our Albanian American community here, Gino Milici. You know, he was the first one in Texas to be elected, and I think he's inspired many other Albanian Americans, maybe yourselves, to go ahead and take that step to run for office. And you and I had talked a few years ago when you first were thinking about running for city council, and we talked about some of the things that steps should be followed. So, if you were to help educate some Albanian American young ones about running for office, what steps would you tell them that they should take to accomplish that goal to run for city council or higher?
Yeah, you don't want to go into this blindly. You definitely want to do your research and start engaging with the city. One of the few initiatives when I first considered this back when Gino started was I understood that I was not prepared. I didn't have the credibility that you need to run for a city office. So I started engaging with public safety through the Louisville Citizens Police Academy, and then also engaging at just showing up to city council member, you know, meetings
Meetings.
on a monthly basis, becoming aware with the council members, with the mayor, the entire city staff. But I would implore you to get involved. There's plenty of programs like our 2035 initiative, engage in the planning and zoning, and then volunteer. Volunteering is so important. I've adopted a spot, several other parks and recreation initiatives where we're planting trees, but get to know your community, build trust, build credibility, and then when you feel like you're ready to start your campaign, just go all in, because the American Albanian community will always support us, and you have power in numbers with that community.
Elda, do you
Absolutely.
have advice for the young
I
folks?
agree. Yes, absolutely. I strongly believe on the principles that this country was founded on. If the government serves the people, and if you love the community, you can step up and serve. And I do believe that whoever has that feeling and that calling to serve the community should definitely go for it. When it comes to the Albanian community, I have an advice for the ones that have not arrived yet, or the ones that are newbies in US that have just arrived. We have so many well-educated women and men from Albania who are still looking to integrate and find the right path. I would say that bring the skills, work hard, and turn the opportunity into something that doesn't just serve yourself, but the community around you too. And I agree with everything what Adrian said. If you have that feeling and calling of serving, you will be among the community. You'll have to attend, show up, listen, and act. And I think that's doable once you have all of these.
Yeah, for high school kids, there's plenty of programs out there. They have leadership programs within
Yeah.
your high school through the local offices at the city as well, through the Chamber of Commerce. We
So
went
many
through a leadership
opportunities.
program as well that kind of sets a path for running for city council or mayor or down the road, and you get to meet like-minded individuals, and they always help and
Leaders.
give you very good advice, and you guys get to sit and discuss, volunteer opportunities like you mentioned as well. But then as you grow these networks and relationships, the ability, and someday somebody will show up and ask you to run,
Absolutely.
and
That's
that's what
how you
happens
get
a lot.
encouraged
So.
because it's all about influence. You start seeing that you're influencing, and that's an indication that you run, besides the fact that others encourage you.
It's cool right now because you have a lot of Albanian Americans around the country. There's been some that have been running for local and state governments. Now we have actually on the federal level, for Congress, individuals running. You have Susanna Shkreli in Michigan running for Secretary of State. So these larger offices, these bigger offices, and as well as local offices. So it's great to see this kind of almost flood of Albanian Americans coming in and it's like our turn now. They've had all these other immigrant communities over the years, and they've been there for a while. And as a kid growing up here, first generation, I always wondered, when is it going to be our turn? When are we going to? But it's so, like a breath of fresh air to see so many of you guys taking that difficult decision, because it is hard. And you could talk about that too, how difficult it can be. I know you had a little bit of a rough day yesterday. You were telling me about earlier, but it's like a roller coaster, up and down. You have your good days and your bad days. That's what politics is. And even as Albanians for America, our organization that deals with politics a lot, we have good days and bad days. We're not out running for office, but yet, we're dealing with in the political world. So it's an interesting dynamic.
It is. It's definitely interesting. There are, as you said, good days and bad days. There are days where you may be thinking of regretting it or not, or the family members are being impacted by all this time that's taken from the family time. I personally don't regret it. I'm very happy that I made this decision. It's very exciting and it's supposed to be fun too,
Yeah, we are definitely living in exciting times to see the natural progression, how our Albanians are excelling, not only in politics, but in technology. You look at artificial intelligence, talented Albanian lady is creating that. You look at entertainment, again, our fearless Albanian women are conquering the world, like Dua Lipa, who was at our community center not too long ago. And it's just inspiring me, and to get the support from our community is really streamlining the initiative and the campaign, and really inspiring me and motivating me to make sure that more elected Albanian officials could be a powerful voice for our community.
Yeah, being Albanian American is cool.
Yeah.
It is. It is. For me, especially as a woman, I am happy to be standing before them as the other night, not just as a candidate, but as someone that can inspire the women, the friends, and their daughters one day, and my daughter. It's just a good feeling.
Well, I was telling Adrian earlier today that it's a roller coaster ride, and you've had many politicians, successful ones, presidents. They've run for office, they've lost a campaign or two, and then they run again. But it's a disappointment if you lose, but if you win, it's very gratifying and you feel fulfilled. So it's this up and down, constant battle that you have to deal with. So, I always say to everybody that's running, no matter what happens at the end, you bravo to the fact that you've taken the hardest and most difficult spot was to making the decision to run, and for that you get so much credit and so much honors in my book. And I think most people feel the same as well. But President Clinton, he'd lost an election. I think he was attorney general or governor. And instead of getting down, he decided to start planning for his next election run too. So I don't know if you guys have dealt with this up and down kind of feeling about this campaign, or do you want to expand on that a little bit or not?
I personally have, especially when I see people being so excited and so supportive. Not everybody, meaning the community in Keller, our supporters, partners, the Albanian community. You find yourself predicting how this joy is going to look like when we hear that we won, or how are we going to feel if we don't win. And to me, to be honest, it's not a win or die situation. I think I have fulfilled the mission to deliver the message, especially to the Albanian community and women, that they can do it, they can think of stepping up, and that we have the skills and we are hard workers, people who can make the change. I wanted to do this as a woman, as a business owner, as a mom, as American. I wanted to be an example for my daughter, her friends, and our community. And I think they've heard it. The message has been already delivered, and we've achieved what we wanted. We'll work hard for the rest of the campaign, but that's how I feel at the finish line.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ups and downs, right? You have Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. But fortunately, our community has amazing organizations like Albanians for America or the Albanian-American Cultural Center that could be there to support us when times are tough. And that's what really differentiates us as far as a community, is having that support system to be able to motivate you and push you through during those down times.
Well, we're getting close to the end now. Is there anything that you guys want to share with the audience that we might not have covered? Do you want to talk about what website or where they can go to donate to your campaigns?
Sure. I mean, adriandoko.com. Feel free to join our movement. We have volunteers. If you can find it in your heart, a small donation really means a lot. But I really want to encourage, and you can see this happening for our next generation of Albanian Americans, regardless of where your background is. America is the only country in the world that you can come from Albania, come to America, and be American. You can't go to Argentina if you're not born there and become Argentinian or any other nation. This is the only nation in the world that gives you the American dream. So for anyone that's considering for running for any elected position, I implore you, I encourage you, we will be here to support you, and we wish you all the best.
This was a great conversation. Thank you, Doc, for having us. I'm running for Place 4, Keller City Council. All the information, the priorities, the opportunity to support can be found at voteeldarata.com. Early voting starts April 20th. We're looking forward to it through 28th of April, and then the election day is May 2nd. I thank you, Doc, and everybody else who's watching, the Albanian Cultural Center for the support, Albanians for America, and everybody who supported the campaign. Thank you.
Well, thank you. This has been a great conversation, and it's inspiring to see Albanian Americans stepping into leadership roles and making an impact at the local level. At Albanians for America, we always say our strength is not just in our history, but it's in our participation. When Albanian Americans step forward to lead, we don't just represent ourselves, we elevate our entire community. Elda, Aiden, we wish you both the best in your campaigns, and we're proud to see you representing our community with professionalism, integrity, and vision. And to everyone that's watching, stay engaged, support Albanians for America, and don't forget to go to our website, albaniansforamerica.org. And as always, thank you for watching. Miropafshin.